Today, my guest is born in Algeria and raised in United States of America. Today, my guest is public speaker, influencer, and leader in the United States of America. She sometimes is an author and sometimes a great leader. She is Shaba Shams. Shaba, how are you?
Hello, citizens of the world. Hello, Zunair. Thank you guys for having
Yes,
me.
Shaba, do
I
you
am doing
listen?
great. Thank you so much.
Do you hear my voice?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, all right. Shaba, you are listening me clearly?
Yes, thank you.
Right. Okay, Shaba, I am very honorable to having you, and I just saw your profile, and it was amazing. I saw your website, I saw your Shaba Speaks channel, your enterprise, your all services you are providing, and it's really great. So, actually, what is your vision?
Well, my vision is to of course, build my own legacy. That's number one.
Ah,
That's why getting into entrepreneurship is my way of building a legacy, impacting people, and making a difference in this world. Positive difference.
that's great. So, you are optimistic by nature or pessimistic?
I think I'm a realist.
Okay.
I'm very realistic. Yeah, I don't think it's pessimism or optimism. I think it's realism. While I do understand the challenges at hand, what people and myself are challenged by, and what are the difficulties and the issues. And then as an entrepreneur, it's not about being optimistic or pessimistic. It's about trying to find a realistic, attainable, feasible solution to any given problem.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, I just read the Maslow's hierarchy in my academics. Before the interview in Urdu, I was discussing it with Mr. Raja. He was my guest half hour ago. Now I'm discussing the same thing with you. I'm in ambiguity. I saw in the Maslow's hierarchy, he said about physiological needs, he said about safety needs, he said about love and belonging needs, esteem need, and then the self-actualization need. When I just heard Jeff Bezos' interview, he said that I'm not satisfied with what I'm doing. Uh, I'm not getting my self-actualization. The same words Bill Gates said 2 years ago. So as a leader, my question is how people can achieve their self-actualization need.
Wow, that's really a good question, because I do actually bring the Maslow hierarchy of needs a lot, especially in my coaching with my clients and in my speaking engagements and whatnot, because understanding the Maslow hierarchy of needs actually help leaders, help entrepreneurs address the proper message to their constituents and stakeholders. Because if people do not understand where they are at, they cannot really pursue the life they need. So, for instance, somebody who's only cared about putting food on the table and a roof over their head, meaning they are at the basis of the Maslow hierarchy of needs, of course, self-actualization is way, way above their head. So they're not really gonna get into it. Or even the esteem need, the self, the self-confidence and the competence of things. So I think we must absolutely understand where people are in the pyramid, because we cannot design interactions, we cannot reach out to people if they are at different level. So now when you talk about self-actualization, as you know, that's really on the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
It's like what people try to achieve after they had the safety, after they had the roof over their head, the food on the table, after their emotional and
Yes, after once
intellectual
they get
needs are
esteem,
met.
everything is okay. They now get the self-esteem, and but when about the self-actualization, they are in the great turmoil.
Yeah, but sometimes there are exceptions, like Gandhi, for instance, or
Ah,
Mandela, for
you
instance.
read about
Those are
Gandhi?
exceptions,
Aha, that's
of course.
interesting.
I'm a big fan. And even in Islam, there are a lot of scholars and leaders who, even though they did not have the sense of safety, or they didn't have roof over their heads and food off the table and that comfort zone, they were still seeking for self-actualization because they have a higher sense of self. So there are a group, not too many people, who, even if the hierarchies are not met, they transcend, they elevate themselves into trying to self-actualize. And the people who actually have a higher sense of self, no matter what they are, it's very hard for them to settle for just a job or to settle for just a normal, regular life, because they always try to achieve more. That's called hunger. And the people who have this hunger to make a difference, impact humanity, leave a legacy and build a legacy and make a positive difference, or a negative difference for that matter, in this world, those people will always push the bar no matter what to achieve more and become fulfilled.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's completely right. I absolutely understand the context what you are describing here.
So where do you see yourself? Because I always ask people, where do you see yourself? Where is it that you're at in the hierarchy of needs?
People actually don't know about the personality traits. Even if someone is a shy, he or she is always in the inferiority complex. But there is nobody to tell him or her that Shakespeare is an introvert person. He's a shy guy. He can't speak in front of the public, but his poetry changed the vision of the East and West Europe. We don't have the great leaders, actually.
So for those people, I would recommend they take a test online. It's called DISC, D-I-S-C. It is a free test online that they can take, and it will give them a sense of their personality traits. And that actually is very helpful in trying to see what they can do moving forward.
So you are living in the United States, right?
Yes.
And what do you think about Joe Biden's strategy against COVID-19? And anything for education also? 2 questions.
Well, actually, I did post this morning something in story that says that Trump wants to stay on a job that he's not good at, and that he is not interested in because of some legal issues he's having. So I believe that the election of Joe Biden, he is the right man for the right time. With the right rhetoric and the right message. I believe that as a unifier, he is going to try to overcome the language that we have seen in the political sphere for the past 4 years, namely divide, racism, discriminate against anybody who is not, typical white, Caucasian, blue eyes, within a certain group. So.
Right.
And I mean, it's obvious that there is a difference in that sense. So looking at Biden agenda, I think he will do some good to bring people together. I think he will already try to revoke the Muslim ban that Mr. Trump has established in the first 100 years of his presidency.
Okay.
Biden will remove that because we cannot ban Muslims from entering the United States from specific countries, and the list is quite long. He's going to remove also the DACA thing that separated the parents from the children in the borders. We have about 660 parents and children who were separated. So we're hoping to see Biden remove this separation sort of thing, this policy, and bring the parents and the children together. So I think from a humanitarian standpoint, this is very important for us to do. And then, of course, when it comes to COVID-19, I mean, let's be serious here. Science is science. I mean, you can deny science all you want, but the facts are the facts. Nobody can change that. And the numbers speak for themselves. So with Biden, he was in the White House for 8 years. So he has experience with, for instance, Ebola and other situations. And they have a response to it. But the most important thing, I guess, about Biden is his ability and his cognitive abilities to understand, brief in, understand. I mean, he's been in the political scene for 42 years. And in fact, on Saturday, when he made his acceptance speech, that was, oh gosh, don't quote me exactly, like 38 years or something like that. Since he was elected in the Senate, it was the same day. So the same day, some almost 40 years later, he became president of the United States. So we have to respect people with this experience and this background. And then I believe that he will bring Muslims in his administration, and he will reach out to different people in the aisles to working together.
All right, all right. And do you think that for the students, for the international students in the USA, Joe Biden will give the good favor for this?
We're going to have to wait and see what he's going to do. I think right now with COVID-19, everything is kind of paralyzed. Everything is going to have to enter into a slow motion. But I believe that Biden inclusiveness to diversity, and he understands what it means to be a global citizen. He understands that America is not like we don't live on a separate island. We have to build bridges with other nations and other societies, and allowing students or immigrants to come to this country is absolutely a foundation of what America is about.
Right. Shaba, you are organizing many of the seminars, many of the workshops, and more and more stuff for educating the people, motivating the corporate sectors. My question is, do you believe that this sort of virtual conferences can make an impact?
Well, we don't have a choice. I guess my first answer to that is that the new reality of COVID-19, because we're still probably going to drag it for another couple of years. So the new reality of this pandemic makes it that, being on the virtual platform is the way to go. However, even before COVID-19, Forbes magazine predicted that the e-learning industry is going to go to 365 or 64 billion in 2025. Meaning it's a growing economy. We can just look at what's happening with Amazon and e-commerce stores and things of that sort. More courses online, more academies. In fact, you asked me if I am going to be doing more workshops and things like that. Unfortunately, I had to cancel a conference that I was originally going to present tomorrow for scheduling issues. But I am very focused right now on building the SHABA Academy for leading and earning. And the purpose of this academy is to provide different courses at different levels, to allow people to really gain different type of skills that will allow them to, seek financial freedom and thrive instead of surviving under these difficult times.
Right. So what do you think the difference between Algeria, where you're born, and where you're raised, and where you're going to do your businesses in the United States of America? What is the core difference you see?
Well, Algeria is still behind, honestly, when it comes to technology, internet access. The infrastructure actually is not there. So I take advantage of this moment to call out people if they are interested in partnering with me to put something in place where we can improve digital access in, third world countries, and North Africa will be one of them, because Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia, they're all not at all like what you see happening in Pakistan. For instance, people don't even do e-commerce, for instance, and they don't shop online. And they're very limited in terms of how much access they have to the digital platform. The other concern that I have with Algeria, which is different here, is that the mindset, it's still so not up to speed when it comes to using the digital platform, the virtual world that we have access to build wealth, to educate, especially for, I would say, women and young adults. So that's another thing that I think we need absolutely to do a lot of work when it comes down to Algeria. So I guess the difference for me is the freedom that I have here to be my own individual, express my ideas, voice my thoughts. build my legacy. As an entrepreneur, try
But I
to
heard
solve
like
problems. And
resistance is always there when you want to change yourself or change any community. So do you think that there is no resistance in the USA?
oh my goodness, there is resistance everywhere. Everywhere you go, there is a level of resistance. But, you know, in my academic work, actually, I did a lot of research talking about why resistance, why people, my focus was organizational resistance. But we can actually expand it to outside. And one of the reasons people resist change is cynicism. The cynicism is the idea that the change is not good and it's not going to happen, and just let's resist it to resist it. However, as I'm looking, for instance, with Biden election and how 72 millions who voted for Trump are resisting the election of Biden, and I'm looking at it from a different angle, and I'm starting to think that resistance is not a bad thing, because the more resistance you have, the more people can come together and work harder to improve things. So, for instance, if
Impressive,
I were a CEO
impressive.
of a company, yeah, if I were a CEO of a company and everybody was happy
Yeah,
with
then
me,
there's
then I
no mean
will,
to work.
yeah,
Yes.
I will, right, I will kick back and
Right.
relax. But the more resistance, actually, resistance is a way that triggers good dedication. So those of us who actually want to make a positive impact in this world, we see how much negativity, we see how much darkness there is out there. So it's really our chance to push and become the best we can be to make a difference. And honestly, when was doing it from like that academic standpoint, I always thought that resistance is a bad thing. I think now I'm starting to look at it as the that negative force that brings the best out of us. So I don't know if it makes sense, but I hope it
The
does.
way you are speaking to me, it's look like that you are an author. Ever you write a book? Ever you written a book there?
Well, my cynicism, actually, my organizational cynicism content is ready. I have been shopping for a publisher.
Wow.
Actually, I've been talking to a couple. So organizational cynicism is something that that I want to put out there. I have another book on the content is ready. It's just like clean it up and put it out there. One is on how to start an online
Uh-huh.
business, during difficult times. And then I am very passionate about success. So I'm working on a workbook, very small workbook that I'm going to be giving away for free. And it's called the 7 pillars of success framework. So what is it that people want to do to become successful? And that one, actually, I'm going to be giving it out for
Right.
free.
So let's have some highlights of your book, How to Start Your Business Online. Please elaborate the book and the content. What is it actually?
Well, the How to Start a Business Online is actually inspired from a challenge that we presented a while back. But I'm going to, of course, reformat it and reword it completely in a way that I'm simplifying it. It was more of a seminar presented in 7 sessions. So taking that content and kind of revamping it in a way that it makes it easy on the reader. And of course, since then, my own work with clients and students online, I'll take some of that to include in the book, and some stories of people who share with me their own experiences, such as yourself starting online business. So that one is about your mindset. I always do mindset in everything I teach. The first part of every single teaching is
Mindset.
mindset.
Okay.
Yeah, that's number one. Because if you don't have the right mindset, if you don't know who you are, what you want, and how to get there, it's really hard to achieve it. And as entrepreneurs, we deal with a lot of challenges and obstacles. So people who don't build what Tony Robbins calls emotional fitness, and I also add to it spiritual fitness. If you do not build emotional and spiritual fitness, the second you meet an obstacle, you're down and you just give up.
I'm interrupting
So
you. I'm
why?
interrupting you here, as you said about that. First mindset, then
Sure.
emotional fitness, and then spiritual fitness. So, as a Muslim, you are Muslim, right?
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah. What are you basically putting in the spiritual fitness?
Well, spiritual fitness, we will be actually, Mr. Shafat, Hashim and I, we will be starting a series of discussions because I have the podcast called Shaba
Mm-hmm.
Speaks, where we're going to be talking about spiritual intelligence and spiritual fitness. And so spiritual fitness starts with knowing why you are put on this planet and what is it that you believe in?
Oh,
What is your core belief
right,
system? Establish a relationship with your creator. For us Muslims, it's Allah,
right.
right? But I also work with non-Muslims, and I also can coach
Mm-hmm.
non-Muslims because spirituality, it's not about religion. Spirituality, it's about this intangible energy you have within
No, our
yourself
religion,
that you
our
try.
religion is also saying that you have to go for the mankind, for the humankind. You know, yes, you can
Absolutely.
teach them, you can preach them, you can tell them what is truth, what is false. So that's not an issue, right? Carry on.
Yeah, and spiritual intelligence really, in I'm gonna make it short because I spent years and years working on this. It's like 30 years exploring spiritual intelligence. So
Impressive.
for me, it's like the meditation, the ability to silence the noise and center and be present.
Oh,
Focus on your prayer.
fabulous.
So if you believe in Islam or Christianity, read the book of God, reflect on the words. And then, of course, try to embrace, embody, and
Shaba,
implement those
how many holy
values.
books you study in your past? I mean, Zoroastrianism, Old Testimonial of Bible, New Testimonial of Bible, Veda, Quran. How many books do you read in your life?
Well, yeah, when I was in Algeria, actually, in my undergrad, I took courses in comparative religions. Um, I mean, just like a quick note, spirituality for me has been something that I have always been interested, even when I was a kid.
Right.
I remember when I was 12 and 13 and 14, a lot of kids run around playing games and whatever. For me, it was really reading things about life, about death, about what happened to the soul. I think at a very, very early age, I developed an interest in, astronomy,
Wow.
astrology, the whole purpose of life. So that was really, really early for me. And then I picked up on other movements. I mean, I grew up in Algeria, so I read a lot of from the French thoughts and philosophers and so on and so forth. So for me, like I said, spirituality for me, it's something, a journey that started about 10 when I was 10. So maybe 40 plus years of exploring this topic. And when I was in undergrad, I took courses on comparative religions where really I learned enough about, I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I learned enough about Judaism and Christianity and other philosophies of life, I would say. And I try to learn some useful things from
Every each
each
very good,
one I
very
get.
good, very nice, very
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
I do
yeah,
appreciate you.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so in the final scenario here at the interview, let me tell you about some school of thought of the students of Pakistan. They are very intellectual and they are very technical in every field, in medical term, in engineering, in freelancing, okay, in IT, all segments. Everyone is awesome in every field, but the great barrier in their higher education is the test, which is known as IELTS. Okay, IELTS is the test you have to pass. This is the prerequisite for the university's admission, despite in Canada, despite in USA, South Korea, China, or anyone in the earth. I mean, so for IELTS, they are good at reading, writing, and listening, but they don't have the platform for speak. You know, here people are laughing because it's a myth. National language is superior. Yes, the leaders, the government of Pakistan is trying to change and bring the international language towards the country, but there are no actually platform. Can you help us, or have you any idea to help us?
Well, I believe that there is enough. wealth around. I go back to saying where is the wealthy people's money, who should be really investing in making a difference in this sense. A lot of people wait for others to do things for them. The reason, for instance, I'm just going to come back to America quickly here. The reason America has been very successful in implementing a lot of different programs is because the government here, if you have a nonprofit organization or you donate money, you can actually use those donations to tax deduct from your yearly income. Then you end up paying less taxes. So this will allow the wealthy to donate, start nonprofit organizations, and allow for money to circulate, and they get something out of it, which is, of course, the prestige, one, and two, the tax cuts. So again, I don't know enough about the Pakistani government or the Algerian government, unfortunately, for that matter, if there is anything in place that allow wealthy people to and then, of course, facilitate for them to start nonprofit organization and put in place a cycle or a movement or a platform for the wealthy to take money and invest in their people as well, while they get rewards for it. So that could be a path. I'm a big fan of nonprofit organizations. I'm a big fan of doing something for, to help people through grant money and donations and sponsorship. So, because really at the end of the day, I think there is a lot of goodwill. People want to do well, but they stumble into the bureaucracies, into the paperwork, into the difficulties of,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've been thinking even here in the United States. I mean, starting a nonprofit organization, a 503c, will cost you at least $1,000 just to get the paperwork together. So it's not cheap.
But
And then
I
you
heard
have
about the
to.
NGO in the USA or in the Canada, like you just have to join the crowdfunding.com or the Kickstarter, and then you just start the organization. And
Yeah. That's why there are, I don't even know the number, but there are a lot of nonprofit organizations. So this would be one pathway that, Pakistan can be using, of course, through nonprofit pathways. Platforms, I think now with the virtual world, it's rather easy. However, not everybody, like I say always, not everybody has access to an internet connection and a computer. So then that's where you put in place some programs where you can, fundraise money for buying computers and laptops for instance, different people in different areas who do not have access to it. But that would be, I guess, the sound and realistic way of doing it, is really seek money from the wealthy and allow people who are less fortunate to have access to certain technologies.
Right, Shaba, it was impressive with you. A lot of things I learned from you, especially spiritual fitness, emotional fitness, and the way you are understanding the Maslow's hierarchy in the top, self-actualization. Well, we will join later, and this will be a continued series. And I want that my nation will learn from you guys. You are successful in your businesses. You are successful in every aspect in your life, right? So thank you very much for your consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Assalamu
Walaikum
alaikum.
salam.